the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
Hello.
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 Welcome to the Bristol Flyers Podcast. I saw your job there, John.
Oh, you're taking my job now, are you, Sam?
I know. Coming here, taking your job.
Taking our jobs.
Yeah, welcome to the Bristol Flyers Podcast. My name is Sam Hardy, and this is my very good friend, Mr. Joel Osborne.
Hello. That sounds a bit strange when you host like that, Sam. That's not your job.
I know. We've never actually had that conversation where we're like, right, this is what Joel does and what he doesn't. But every single time, and I've just been here, like, demoted down to just waiting my turn. But I thought I'd just take a lead on this one, Joel.
I like it, mate. I like it. I'm here for it. You can do my job. I'm feeling a bit tired today, so you can carry me through this episode of the podcast. But I tell you what, I might be tired, but there's one thing that could really pick me up.
What's that, mate?
A good cup of Clifton coffee. I'll tell you what, today's episode is our Clifton Coffee special.
That is so cheesy as, but I like it, Joe. I'm here for it.
Awesome. You will notice that it's just Sam and I in the studio this week. We're all alone. There's no guests with us. And that's because the podcast is back on the road once again. We're actually recording this before we go out on the road, so we have no idea what we're going to be throwing to or anything. It's literally, we have no idea how this episode could go this week.
If you ever do anything like on screen or anything like, you know, with VTs and whatnot, you know, the general rule is don't do the pre-record before the actual content is taken.
Hey, on the Bristol Flyers podcast, we throw them rules out the window.
I love it, mate. Here for it.
Yeah, we're heading down to our partners at Clifton Coffee Roasters this week. They put on, they are going to be putting on a team social for the players and the staff, which is awesome. So we're going to head down there with some mics. We're going to go down and chat to some players. We're going to have a tour of the facilities at Clifton Coffee Roasters, learn more about who they are, what they do, and all the players are going to be there, so we can literally chat to whoever we want, players or staff.
I love it. Now, I like local business, Joel, you know, keeping it local. And, you know, if you're an avid coffee drinker, then why not give Clifton Coffee a little go? I've had some myself. It's actually delicious. I can't remember what mine was. I think it was Colombian coffee. It was beautiful. But you ever had Clifton Coffee, Joel?
I'll tell you what, I actually haven't, and I need to try some. So tomorrow, I will be trying some Clifton Coffee. So I'm super excited. By the time you listen to this podcast, I would have tried my Clifton Coffee. So if you haven't, go check them out on their website, a big partner of the Bristol Flyers.
I'm sure there's a really, really, really good reason, but Clifton Coffee isn't actually in Clifton, Joe.
Yeah, I know. They're not actually in Clifton. I was just looking over at director Freddie over there. He was saying they're really, really good Clifton Coffee. You should go check them out. So yeah, 100%. I'm going to go check them out tomorrow. The players are also going to be doing some latte art.
I love the way are you northern in any shape or form?
Latte.
I'm pretty sure if you're not northern, it is latte art, my man.
Latte art.
You're from Dorchester. I'm not sure why you say latte, mate.
Arte latte.
Yeah.
They're going to be split into teams later on the podcast. I imagine part of this video that we're about to go film tomorrow will involve us commentating on their latte art, seeing how they get on. And
are we going to get a go?
Oh, what? I reckon. We can either have a go or be the judges, or we'll put I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll put the players' latte art out on social, and we let fans decide who the winner is.
Do you know what? I quite like that. I'm here for it, mate. That's what that'll be good. If we don't get a go, I'm sure we'll get a go at all sorts of things while we're there, mate. I quite like an oat latte, just to let you know. That's what I'm into. That's very Bristol, isn't it?
Oaty latte. I tell you what, I'm an espresso man. I love a strong coffee, especially before you go on air as well. Just a little knock it back. Get that kick, off you go.
That's the Italian in you, isn't it,
Gareth
Joe?
and I actually do it before every home game we do for Flyers. We have a nice strong coffee. Amy Atkinson brings over the cookies now these days. And to be fair, we only asked for one cookie. She's bringing them over every week right now.
Mate, I've not had one last week. How come I didn't get one? Did she give it to Gareth instead?
Yeah, me and Gareth had one.
Oh, right, Amy, livid. Absolutely livid. When I used to work in Frankie and Benny's many moons ago, we used to do this thing when we were absolutely knackered on like a 12-hour shift. We'd have a turbo shot, so we'd get a shot or a double espresso come through the machine, and then you know, like the pub Coke that you can like or whatever. You could take the cap. If you took the cap off and pulled it out, down the middle the pure syrup would go, and then out the sides would be all the water. So we'd get like a shot of coffee and a shot of like pure Coke or pure Fanta or something, mix them together and see it off, and that would get us going through that shift, mate. I'm telling you.
That sounds absolutely absolutely disgusting.
Yup, it was.
I'm not going to lie to you. That sounds absolutely dreadful. A couple of little bits of admin before we head off to the coffee shop. What's that Stormzy song? Meet me girl at the coffee shop.
I literally just thought Stormzy was in the room with us for a second then. Sounded exactly like Stormzy.
I literally just thought that, but hey. A couple bits of admin. Before, the last couple of weeks, we've been asking fans to send us in a review on the Apple iTunes store. Last week, we saw Pasquale Landolfi's GOAT review, which actually turned out not to be a review from Pasquale Landolfi. He texted me, actually, after that episode, and he was like, that wasn't me. I didn't put that review up of the GOAT on the Apple Podcast store, so unfortunately you still haven't got a review yet. However, since our last episode, we have got our first review on the iTunes store, and it is from none other than Cider Sam.
Love that.
Anyone who listens to the Bristol Flyers podcast will know Cider Sam. He is a key member, a founding member of the Bristol Flyers supporters group. He was on our Bristol Flyers supporters group episode. We spoke to him at the open training episode, so a big listener of the podcast. He's only gone and left us a review here.
I can imagine it can be anything other than a bad review, Joel.
Well, I'll let you be the judge of it. I'll read it out here for you right now. 5-star rating, first of all.
Okay, good.
The headline, the best podcast in the BBL. Incredible.
Wow.
Here we go. From Cider Sam. Just the boost you need on a Wednesday to get you through the rest of the week. The podcast always cheers me up with its light humour and is a good way to unwind after a difficult day. Great content, great guests, the best hosts. What more can you ask for? A must listen for any Bristol Flyers fan. Basketball emoji, flame emoji.
Now, ego officially tickled there, Joel. How do you feel about that, mate?
Incredible. It's exactly that's exactly the boost we needed here on the Bristol Flyers podcast. So thanks, Sam. Really appreciate your support and your listeners. And also, if you are listening to the podcast or you're new to the podcast, recommend us to a friend. You know, give your mate a call. Hi, you listen to the Bristol Flyers podcast yet? No? Go listen to it.
Why don't you just send a link? That's probably more likely.
Oh yeah, all that. I'll just send a link. Yeah, do one way or the other. Just do that.
I nearly went on.
However you want to do it.
I nearly went on and gave us a 4-star review just to keep us real, Joel. Just to sort of like keep us grounded a little bit.
Yeah, just to put us down to earth a bit. Can't be having all these 5-star reviews.
Straight to our head that'll go, won't it?
Now, if you are a listener though, do give us a rating and a review. We're here every single Wednesday on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, although we're recording this on a Tuesday. But they come out every Wednesday. And I tell you one thing, we've actually, in the office, Sam, recently been putting our heads together, haven't we? Because we're actually coming up with some, we're trying to plan ahead. We never normally plan ahead for the podcast. It's normally just ad hoc, and we'll send a WhatsApp to a player. Oh, are you free? Yeah, come on down to the studio. Now we've got through all the players this season, we're being a bit creative with the podcast. So we're going to get players back on, which you would have seen already. We are planning some great episodes with some potential guests. I can't reveal too much more, but, however, this is all going to build up into our season finale. Now, the season finale, let me tell you this. If we can make this work, if we can get this to go ahead, it could be incredible.
Come on. Are we allowed to talk a little bit about it or not?
I can't talk too much about it, but maybe not just yet. We're very early in the conversations around this, so I don't want to hype it up too much. However, if we can get this to work, this could be the ultimate Bristol Flyers podcast season finale, the big end of season shebang. Obviously, we're just over halfway through the season now. The rest of the way through the season, we'll release episodes every Wednesday, all building up to the very final episode of the season, which we will probably do on the final week of the regular season as it stands right now.
Can't wait for that.
TBC. Watch this space. And then when we know more about it, we'll let you guys know, and we'll see if we can get some of the fans involved with helping us make it a big one.
I'm just gonna every week or so chuck in things like the Bristol Flyers podcast pool party. Just little things it might be. Who knows?
Pool party, mate. It's not that far out there. with any idea is a good idea here. There's no bad ideas. Take the podcast anywhere.
What I think, do you know what I was just thinking then? I don't think anyone's ever done it. How good would it be if we went up to, and did a skydive and recorded a podcast on the way down?
Love it. Love it. Great idea.
Let's do it.
Add it to the list. I'll add it to the notes right now, mate. Right, I guess it's time for us to head over to Clifton Coffee on that note. We've got a great episode lined up for you. Obviously, our partners at Clifton Coffee, we're going to sort of throw to ourselves even by the power of podcast magic. So, should we give it a go?
Let's go for it, mate.
Here we go. So, a little bit of podcast magic for you. We're going to throw to ourselves down at Clifton Coffee Roasters.
This is the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
Thanks, Joel and Sam in the studio. Sam and I are down here at Clifton Coffee Roasters, which actually is not, as you say, it's not in Clifton, is it, Sam?
No, we're here in Avonmouth. That was seamless, by the way, Joe, I must say. Just jumping on over here. It's freezing right now.
Should we go inside and see what the players are up to?
Let's go for it.
All right, we're upstairs here at Clifton Coffee. We're joined by Pete Hooper, who works here at Clifton Coffee. Pete, tell us more about what the guys are up to here this afternoon.
So they're just getting a little flavour for the coffee, what we do here at Clifton Coffee. So they're currently in this room behind us just trying some espressos, and the guys over there are trying their latte art, which I'm not sure how that's going at the moment, but hopefully they get there by the end. But yeah, so hopefully by the end of the day they get some good experience and want to be out drinking some nice coffees.
And the guys have done a tour, haven't they, of the whole facility. Tell us what they've seen so far here this afternoon.
So we showed them downstairs in the roastery, from kind of green coffee all the way through to a finished product and how we get there. They've also done some cupping as well, which is tasting coffee. And then, to see different flavours and like what we produce and how we produce and how we get there. So.
No, you're going to have to clear something up for us. I've been in Bristol 12 years now, maybe, and I definitely can tell you right now we are not in Clifton. Can you explain where the name comes from and that sort of thing?
Yeah, so we actually started in Clifton about 21 years ago now. So we started out with flat on Apsley Road, and then we slowly moved elsewhere and kind of had to move a bit out of Clifton because there's no real big industries down there for us to have a roastery. So we moved down here about 15 years ago and been growing ever since.
And you guys have been involved, it's your first year being involved with the Bristol Flyers. Am I right in thinking you guys had the Bears players come down quite recently?
Yes, we've had the Bears boys in. They love their coffee. So yeah, they've been in quite a few times now actually, drinking their coffee, and we've been showing them same kind of thing really, a bit training with them, seeing how they're getting on making their coffee, but they're right into their coffee, them boys. Yeah, they love
What have you made of the partnership so far? Because of course you guys have been down to, I think, 1 or 2 games so far this season?
Yeah, so I've been down to a couple of games, but the boss, James, he's right into it, so he goes down almost every week, well, when you guys are at home anyway, so he's right into it, so he loves it.
What was the game that you came down to?
I think we lost a little bit to the Caledonian, so it wasn't the best game for me to rock up to, but it was still great atmosphere and really good fun, isn't it? So.
And plans for the future with the club, it's sort of going in that kind of right direction towards Ashton Gate now, so exciting times ahead for hopefully this partnership as well.
Yeah, exactly. So we're hoping to keep with you guys for a little bit longer, and and hopefully when everything moves down there, we'll be with you then, and keeping you guys fueled with the coffee.
When we move down there, we'll actually be closer to Clifton than you will. So.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you,
Sam, let's go see who else we can chat to. We've got Tevin Olison here joining us. Tevin, you've just tried 6 different coffees. What was your favourite one out of the lot?
I would say the third one is my favorite. All the other ones are kind of bitter to me, but I put a lot of sugar in my coffee, so you can't ask me.
Yeah, I was going to say, you are a coffee drinker, but you put loads of sugar in, don't you?
I put a lot of sugar in mine. How many sugars? You don't want to know.
I want to know.
5.
5 sugars? 5 sugars?
5.
You heard it here first. Tevin Olison has 5 sugars in his coffee.
That's no longer coffee. That's putting coffee on your sugar, mate. That's what that is.
We're joined now by Mike and TB.
The coffee I just tasted needs some sweetener and some sugar. This coffee, I ain't never had no black coffee before. I do not like black coffee, bro.
Well, we were just talking to Tevin, and he said he puts 5 sugars in his coffee.
That's what you mean. That's what a normal person supposed to drink. When I turn probably 45, maybe I'll drink black coffee, but not right now.
And to come down here for a team social, a chance to meet some of our partners that come down and support you guys week in, week out. What does that mean to you guys in terms of showing love to them back and coming here and visiting them?
Just expressing a level of gratitude. You always want to, return a favor to somebody that's showing support to you. So it's a great way of doing this, coming out here and learning about what they do.
Now, TB, we had a question from Flyers fan Matt Hardy, who you'll hear from later on in the podcast. But he wanted to know, after the game at the weekend, the Surrey Scorchers game, that shot you made at the end of the third quarter, just inside the half, does that count as a free Nando's, or is that just inside the halfway line?
We ain't going to Nando's this week, so I'm sorry, man. That don't count.
There you have it. You heard it here. You heard it here first.
Yeah, exactly.
No Nando's for that shot from TV on Friday. Fellas, thanks for stopping by and chatting to us. Well, we are joined by none other than our good friend and Bristol Flyers commercial manager, Steve Deverett. Now, Steve, we talk about you all the time on the podcast, but it's now a chance for fans to put a face to their name if they're watching on YouTube.
I know, disappointing. No, I'm joking.
Steve, tell us about this partnership with Clifton Coffee, because it's new this season, isn't it?
Yep, so Clifton Coffee are with us for this year and next year. It's a great partnership. They're on the shorts, obviously, but includes things like this, coming down, seeing the sites. We're doing a bit of a team social today. Guys are getting taught how to make coffee. Tevin's just had a bit of a spillage. But yeah, it's been great, and it's great to have a Bristol-based company involved. We've got, national partners, but it's great to have some local partners as well. So yeah, it's great.
And they do stuff with not only Bristol Flyers, they do stuff with Bears as well. I know some of the Bears players came down here recently too, didn't they?
Yeah, so the Bears men's, Bears women and England women as well have been down here. They have loads of groups down here. It's a great experience. You get to see how all the machines work, get to take part. It's a bit of fun. It's a good little team social during the year.
And we can't not have you on the podcast without talking about, I know Sam and I discuss it most times, but obviously we are still looking for a sponsor for the Bristol Flyers podcast.
Yeah.
Can you give us any updates?
Yeah, so this has been outed a few times. Just want everyone to know we're doing very well with sponsorship this year. The podcast opportunity came to the table very late. We thought it would tank, so we didn't give it to any sponsors. Turns out for some reason people like it. So yeah, we'll start looking for next season.
Okay, thanks mate. Right, let's go see what else we can find. All right, we are joined by none other than Flyers head coach Andreas Kapoulis. Andreas, this must be like heaven for you, because you're a massive coffee drinker.
Paradise indeed. Like, I love coffee, and it's been a great afternoon here.
One thing you may not know, Sam, is that on the team bus for away games, there is a coffee machine, and I know you and I, we always time our run, don't we, before we go into the venue, when the best point is to start making that coffee. It's around sort of 15 minutes before we arrive to away games, isn't it?
Yeah, there has to be one in the morning, obviously. Like, if we're leaving in the morning after breakfast, you got to have a good coffee there, kind of thing, and then you got to time it. Like, it's very important. It's part of the science.
So you're not focusing on like the game ahead. It's all about the timing of that coffee, right?
Coffee is the most important thing.
Great stuff. Andreas, obviously a good chance for the team to get together, team social here this afternoon down at our partners at Clifton Coffee. How good is it to get the guys together in these sort of social environments?
Oh, it's just great to be out in the community, and Clifton Coffee, I mean, what they do here, their business has grown a lot, and the opportunity to meet the members of staff here working and see the incredible job that they do, and we found out a lot of fun facts really that we didn't know. We tasted some coffees, found out how to make espresso, how to make latte, and just to get the little heart or the leaf on top like the right way. So I think it has been very interesting, and it's great to interact, and it's just the variety and the diversity that we have in terms of our sponsors and our partners. I think it's very important. It's great for our players to experience work environment and what it looks like in everyday life here at Clifton Coffee.
Who's been the worst at making latte art? I mean, you've seen a few players try their hand at, doing the little heart on top of the latte. Who's been the worst and who's been the best?
I think the best has been Leslie, I think, and I think he's got to win the competition. We'll find out in a little while, I suppose. But all the guys gave it a good shot. I mean, mine was all right. It wasn't great, but I think there were some terribles as well. But I think Mike Miller was the best from the other team. I think Leslie was the best from our team. So let's see, let them battle it out later on.
Well, the guys are going to go head to head in a latte art competition. Let's see how they get on. If you come around this way, you can see that Leslie Smith and Mike Miller are going head to head right now. Who are you backing, Sam?
Well, I've heard the rumours. It looks like Leslie might be slightly ahead, but you never know. Mike is pretty clutch. We've seen that this year with his basketball. Maybe we'll see it with his latte art as well.
Pete is judging right now. He's deep in thought.
This is a nice little heart going on here. This is a little bit Picasso. A little bit abstract. I would say, if we're going for a heart, it's got to be this one.
The winner is Leslie Smith, ladies and gentlemen. Right, well, there we have it. What an incredible day. Thanks to Clifton Coffee Roasters for inviting us down. It was great, wasn't it, Sam?
I absolutely loved it. You're about to see us in the studio, having recorded it yesterday, saying, that was a great day, or it wasn't. And I'll let you know right now, Joel. It was so good.
Obviously, Leslie Smith coming out on top with the latte art competition, but I don't think there is a second career for him as a barista, Sam. What do you reckon?
I don't want to say anything too early, but no, I don't think so.
No, definitely not is the answer to that question. It's great. That wraps up our section here at Clifton Coffee. Let's now throw back to Joel and Sam, who are over in the studio.
This is the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
Thanks, Joel and Sam. What an incredible visit that was.
Or a terrible visit, not sure, mate.
We have no idea. We have no idea how that went because obviously we're recording this on a Tuesday.
I love that. Do you know what I really liked about what we just did, Joel? I really like how the thing that we just did really did that stuff with the, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I was a really big fan of the coffee.
Yeah. To be fair, you will have had it by now.
Yeah, I would have. So obviously, I love it. Massive shout out to our partners at Clifton Coffee Roasters. Sam, if you were to name a coffee after Bristol Flyers or have a Flyers themed coffee, what would you name it?
The Flacciato.
The Flacciato?
The Flyers I don't know, just
call it like Flyers Rocket Fuel.
Oh, that'd be good.
Bit of full court press.
Okay, fine. Yours is way better than mine.
No, Flyers. What's it? Flyers Macchiato.
I feel like I got stitched up then. I feel like you pre-planned some of those, and I had no idea, and it was coming at me.
Pre-plan. We don't plan anything here on the podcast.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Yeah, massive shout out to our partners then at Clifton Coffee for having us down there at Clifton Coffee Roasters. Which, speaking of sponsors, Sam, is there? Well, obviously, you are part of the commercial team here at Bristol Sport. It's been about 2 or 3 weeks, maybe a little bit longer, since I've chased you about trying to find a sponsor for this podcast. Hearing as, someone who can sponsor us to talk absolute nonsense here every single Wednesday. Do you have an update for us, Sam? What's the latest?
Yeah, so the update is, the problem is, because of how great this content is, Joel, we've got like a £1 million sort of asking price, and so there's not loads of people out there who are willing to do that for us. Maybe soon. I'm sorry, I have no update for you, Joe.
Well, if you are interested in listening to the podcast, we are after a sponsor. So if you're a listener, avid listener, if you're an existing partner of Bristol Flyers and you want to sponsor the Bristol Flyers podcast, do get in touch, or get in touch with Steve Devereaux. He's a good lad, isn't he?
He's all right, yeah.
Great stuff. Right, well, we're obviously here in the studio, so we've got to do our usual bits and bobs that we do on the podcast. The coffee bit was fun, but now it's time to get to the good stuff.
Okay, let's go for it.
So shall we get to this week's news?
You're listening to the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
Right, time to take a look at what's been going on around the league as usual. And Sam, a lot of action has been going on. It was BBL Trophy week this past week.
Do we have to talk about it?
Well, we can kind of brush over this one a little bit. It's a tough defeat, wasn't it, to Surrey on Friday?
Do you know what? It was so annoying because it felt like at any moment we started getting any sort of momentum, something would happen and they'd just start pulling away again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, we started we were 17 points up in the first quarter, and we took our foot off the gas. The shooting from outside went cold. They sat back in that zone, and every single shot we put up, missed. They just sit further and further back in this zone defense, just allowing us to shoot more. And I felt like a lot of our shots were rushed on the offensive end. I know coach wasn't too happy, and we looked at we talked about it before, the potential, the run we could have gone on. It was guaranteed home ties all the way up through into the final. You know how well Flyers have been doing at home this season. It was all set up for a great trophy run. We're in the other half of the bracket as London Lions as well. But obviously Surrey are playing such good basketball right now. They're turning a corner, and they beat us on New Year's Day, and they followed it up with the one here last Friday night. I mean, they've got their players back from injury. Boban Jack Donme had himself a fantastic game against us, and when he plays at his best, Surrey Scorchers play at their best. He's one of those players who will either go off for a massive game or be held really quiet, and that was his game on Friday night. Incredible performance from him.
I think the problem we've got is we do live and die by the three a little bit sometimes, don't we? We've got some unbelievable not always, but we've got some unbelievable 3-point shooters, and it just wasn't happening. I also think, no criticism here, but I think there were some big calls made in that second quarter. like at the Flyers, a bunch of guys got into foul trouble. We had Tevin was on quite a few early on. TB3 got into quite a few, didn't he? He actually got fouled out in the end. Is that right?
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah, he was. It was a tough game all around, and like the atmosphere was so good in the start. You know, up by 17, and I don't know whether it was complacency kicked into play. Surrey went on that run. You know, the second quarter they were able to make it a close one.
Yeah.
TB3 hit that shot from the logo at the end of the third.
That was so good.
To sort of keep us within touching distance. But it was just too much in the end, and we couldn't make the deficit back as much as we tried to. It was a late run, and Mike Miller hit a couple of late threes.
Yeah.
But no, it was a 6-point defeat in the end, and it does mean that we are out of the BBL Trophy.
That's tough.
Which is a killer. There are a couple of tweets I want to bring up here from the aftermath of the game. Firstly, from Surrey Scorchers guard Josh Steele, who, if you don't follow him on Twitter, do follow him because he loves a good meme. He has a great YouTube channel as well. If you haven't checked out his YouTube channel, go check it out. Josh Steele. He's done some great content. Potentially might be some good content on BBL channels down the line with a certain Coach Kapoulas. Watch this space. You didn't hear that from me. But yeah, go check out Josh Steele's YouTube channel. But he did tweet this after the game, and the stonks are going up. Survive and advance for Surrey Scorchers, just to rub our faces in it a little bit.
Do you know what? We've talked about this a little bit before, but with these injuries coming back, like Surrey Scorchers should not be on the amount of game wins they're on in the league. They should be on more than that, shouldn't they?
No, and that's exactly what I was trying to get at. You know, they've had those injury problems at the start of the season. They had 4 or 5 players on the injury list. They were really short-handed. Mm-hmm. Now they're sort of slowly getting back to full strength. I mean, we saw Jalen Ray return last week. Josh Steele returned this past week, and Teo Ogundengbe is looking to return as well in the next sort of couple of weeks as well. So, you know, when they're back to full strength, you'll see them pick up more wins in the league. So, you know, only 2 league wins, but they are turning a corner. So that tweet there from Josh Steele, the stonks are on the way up for the Surrey Scorchers. If you haven't seen that meme, go check out the stonks meme. What a great meme. I do love a good meme. I know we lost the game, but I'm very appreciative of a good meme, which does remind me I need to get back on my meme game from the Flyers account. I haven't been a bit trolly this season. I've been very down the line, very humble on Twitter this season.
On the seasons that we've not been doing as well, I should say, Joel, who has also been, Joel Osborne has been named Troll Osborne before as well by certain individuals. On the season we're doing the best at this point, he's barely done any trolling at all, Joel.
Straight down the line, we're playing well, so no need to brag about it. But maybe he'll come back. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. It's always popular on social media. Another tweet that Josh Steele put out. He actually posted this video as well. So not only did he post the stonks meme, get it up on the screen, Fred. He posted this video. I don't know if anyone's ever played Mario Kart, but he's put the Bristol Flyers logo on Donkey Kong in pole position, about to cross the line, and he gets hit with a blue shell. Flyers logo goes massive. Donkey Kong is, hit by the blue shell. There's coins everywhere.
He's spinning. He can't do anything.
And then here comes the wee me character with the Surrey Scorchers logo on it, passing the Bristol Flyers on the finish line. Thanks for that, Josh. Appreciate that one.
That's good. That, to be fair, that is good trolling, isn't it?
I appreciate it. I've got time for that. I will tell him, though, not that this is something I should really shout about, but it doesn't really make much sense, Joel, because Surrey were winning from the second quarter the whole way for the rest of the game then. It wasn't like they got us right on the finish line. So actually... It was like they got us after lap 1.
Yeah, silly meme. Don't enjoy it. Don't enjoy the video.
Great stuff. I've got another tweet that actually caught my eye from this game. This one's from Matt Hardy from BBL Daily. If you can get up on screen here, Fred. He tempted fate with this tweet. I don't want to jump the gun, but the Flyers have a good road into the final of the BBL Trophy. First silverware as a BBL team would be amazing.
Right, I don't want to jump the gun is the thing I pick out of that sentence there, Joel.
He posted this before game day as well. Matt, what are you doing?
This it's got 18.6 thousand views as well, Joel.
Well, everyone obviously hopped on it after the result came through.
Yeah.
I mean, Matt, we're gonna have to give Matt a call, I reckon.
Should we give him a ring now?
I think he knows the call's coming. I did give him a heads up earlier, but we're gonna give Matt Hardy a quick call now, and I need him to explain this tweet to us here on the podcast. Are you ready, Sam?
I'm ready.
Here we go.
He's not
Come on, Matt, answer the phone.
Yes, he won't pick up.
We got beef. We got beef, Matt.
Oh, he's
It's
leaving
going to be
you.
voicemail. It's literally going to go voicemail here.
Imagine
the scenes. I did tell him to expect a call, you know. Come on, Matt.
He's on the toilet, mate. I can sense it.
Welcome to the EE voicemail. I'm sorry, but the person you called is not available. Please leave your message after the tone. After you've finished your message, just hang up. Or to hear more options, please press 1.
Hi, Matt Hardy. It's Joel Osborne and Sam Hardy here from the Bristol Flyers Podcast. We're recording the episode right now, Matt. We're recording it right now.
We even told you we were going to be doing it, Matt.
We did give you a heads up, Matt. We wanted to do a really good chat and talk about all things Flyers.
Just to let you know, we're livid at you for that tweet officially.
That official tweet. What's going on, Matt Hardy? Anyway, Matt, this is my number. So if you do want to give us a call back before we finish recording the podcast, we'll answer it. But you got to be quick, mate, because we've probably got about another 20 minutes left of our podcast, so be quick, Matt. If you can give us a call back in about 20 minutes time, or in the next 20 minutes, you can be on the podcast. See ya.
Livid. Absolutely livid, Joe.
That was a voicemail.
You tee him up, he's like, uh-oh, they're going to abuse me for my tweet, so, not going to answer that one.
Well, if he rings back, I'll answer the call, but we will see. We had a really good segment there with Matt Hardy, but we're going to have to brush over that one now, I'm afraid. Right. Other news from around the league this week. Shall we get to what else was posted?
Yeah, go for it.
Here's a tweet from BBL journalist Mark Woods. Obviously, the BBL Trophy competition. They've seen a lot of BBL non-league teams, NBL Division 1 teams enter the competition. Flyers themselves were an NBL Division 1 team, back in the 2013-14 season before they entered the BBL. They beat Surrey Scorchers, Surrey United back then, in the first round of the trophy. Mark Woods, who's a BBL journalist, tweeted this news, and he's a very reliable source of breaking news in the BBL. He tweeted the following: BBL Trophy could be dumped next season following a competition review. Support emerging to play entirety of Cup within January, with the league and playoffs forming the remainder of the season in a simpler to understand narrative. Interesting news breaking there from Mark Wood. Sam, what are your thoughts? Should the BBL be scrapping the BBL Trophy competition?
I think it's really tough because, we've got to think about it from all the different angles. The BBL doesn't run itself. There's money involved. It's really tricky to almost, one of the facts we know is that the viewership goes down when we've got some of the lower league teams playing against the BBL teams. Like that's just a fact there. So I'm not saying it's like something we should definitely do, but I see that point of view. But then also we've had situations where in previous years teams from league the Division 1 have beaten BBL teams and made their way. What was it? One team made their way through. Was it Solent?
Solent Kestrel. They knocked us out of the BBL Trophy in 2020.
Well, that I remember that game well because that was the one when COVID was just hitting off, wasn't it?
Yeah. So the trophy, the trophy final that year was the very last game played before lockdown. It was probably one of the last games played in sport before lockdown. The BBL shut down very late compared to other sports.
It shut down on It
was like the day before lockdown. I swear it was like the Sunday,
the 19th,
and then Boris came on the Monday and said, "You must stay at home."
Well, Boris wanted him and his friends to all go and enjoy the races before that, Chelsea. Well, he shouldn't say stuff like that.
This is a non-political podcast. Freddie's holding up a sign, but I can't see what Freddie is saying on his sign. Is your do not disturb off? Oh, you're talking about Matt Hardy? No, it's not off. I better turn it on. In case Matt Hardy gives us a call. Maybe he has called me back. Should I check my missed calls?
Yeah, check it.
Oh, he's messaged me back. He has messaged me back saying try again. All right, take 2. We'll try Matt Hardy again. Here we go. Are you ready, Sam?
Yeah, I'm ready. Thanks, Freddie. We appreciate you. We appreciate you.
It was a good shout there, Fred.
Hello.
Here he is.
Oh, you are lucky, Matt Hardy. You are lucky, sunshine. We nearly were really mean about you on this podcast.
Well, we were. We just tried phoning you, Matt. It went to voicemail.
I know. I'm skiving off work. I should be working, so I was momentarily distracted by what I should be doing. But here we are. I'm back. I'm here.
I love it. Did you get a chance to listen to our voicemail, Matt?
I didn't know. I was too worried that I'd miss your call again.
Oh, it's all good. You can listen to it back later. It's a fun one.
All right, I look forward to that. Thanks for calling me back.
No, it's good. Like, our director, Freddie, just said, Joel, is your phone on Do Not Disturb? And I was like, oh, yeah, it is. And then I just turned it off Do Not Disturb and realised that you had tried texting me. So
and here we are.
Here we are, yeah, exactly. Matt, for a bunch of, you're very active on social as a, Bristol Flyers supporter. Just talk us through, like, how long you've been a Flyers fan for and like how you got involved with being a supporter for the club.
Absolutely. So, truth be told, I'm actually relatively new to the BBL. I've always been into basketball, played at school, but then kind of followed the NBA for a long time. And I actually only turned my attention to the BBL last season. So I just decided, look, I love the game, but there's obviously so much going on this side of the Atlantic. I need to properly stand up for British basketball. So, my wife got me my first ever Flyers tickets. We went out to the opening game of the season against the Giants last year, sat courtside, got hospitality, got my first Flyers jersey, and Bristol got the win. So it was a very good trip.
That is rogue. You've just gone straight in with hospitality, courtside, and you've got yourself a jersey straight away without even knowing whether you'd enjoy it or not.
Yeah, we go all in. You go big or you go home.
And how did you find that first game, Matt?
Wicked, absolutely wicked. Obviously, the SGS is just a hotbed of, like, it's just live, isn't it? It's just loud, it's just noisy, and yeah, just being that close to the action, you can hear the players talking, you can just see how much they communicate and stuff. The game was amazing, so yeah, I was all in, I was hooked.
Yeah, it's been crazy. So this is like your second season now, isn't it? Because last year you were a big supporter of the team during that playoff run through to the semi-finals. What have you made of the season this year so far?
I've loved it. Obviously, there was a lot of roster turnover from my first year, so I didn't really know what to expect from the team. And obviously, we had the infamous season projections that are pretty shocking.
We don't talk about them here on the podcast.
Yeah, it didn't happen. But yeah, like, obviously, with that kicking off and to see how far this team has come, consistently top three all year, it's been amazing. I think sort of our team having an identity as a tough, defensively minded team that will, guard you from baseline to baseline for 40 minutes is just something, as a fan, you can just be really proud of. And just like the incredibly athletic, and being able to see that kind of week in, week out is very special.
Yeah, it's so exciting, isn't it? I want to, you've talked about all that there, but I want to know your thoughts on the game on what day was it on?
Friday.
On Friday, the Surrey game, Matt.
It was crazy, wasn't it? Like, they say that basketball is a game of runs, and if you want to show anyone what that means in practice, you just got to show people that game, like being up big and then them coming back and us coming back, and it was just all over the place. But like, credit to the Scorchers, they shot a little bit more efficiently than we did. They got at it on defense. I think they moved the ball really well from the perimeter. It's just one of them. They're a lot better. The Scorchers are a lot better than their record suggests, and they just kind of match up with us really well. Jack Dobby had a really good game, and then you got guys like Lawrence and Wang and Martin and Taylor and stuff. It was just one of those games. They always kind of seem to have our number, which is a bit annoying.
Yeah, well, we move on, but I do want to dig up the tweet that you put out. We were just talking about it before we gave you a call. Fred, get it up on the screen, Fred. We were talking about this tweet. You didn't want. You tempted fate here, Matt.
I know. That's all on me.
And we were all thinking it was going to be, a potentially good run to the final. We were all thinking it, but you didn't have to tweet it, Matt.
I've heard of the commentator's curse. I didn't know that translated to some bloke on Twitter who also follows the Flyers. But yeah, it was just like, do you know what I mean? It looked kind of quite. The league is incredibly competitive, and anyone can beat anyone. But comparatively, it was a favourable route. Surrey being where they are in the league, then the Phoenix or the Hoods, and then probably the Riders, who we've beaten, and then probably London for the final, who we've beaten. It's not like that Devon team who got St Mirren and then we'll play the winner of Derby or Wales. Do you know what I mean? But fair play to the Scorchers. And I did get absolutely dragged on Twitter for a day. But you live by the tweets, you die by the tweets.
You certainly do. You certainly do. Well, we won't grill you anymore for your tweets, Matt Hardy, because we do appreciate your support on social media.
I don't want to blame you at all, actually, Matt, because I'm not going to lie to you. We haven't said this on the pod yet, but in the office, we actually printed off some of the.
Oh, we did.
We did. We printed off some of the bracket sort of empty sheets, and some of the people in the office started filling in what they thought it was going to be, and they filled Bristol in before.
Oh, my bracket is already busted, Matt.
Yeah, so they filled it in before the game had already happened, and some of us, not naming names, including myself, may have been looking at Airbnbs in Glasgow for the final.
Vindication. I'm completely off the hook.
Yeah.
That wasn't me.
Yeah, I mean, we don't talk about...
sleep soundly tonight.
We can talk about this now because obviously we're out of the tournament, but if we were still in the tournament, we would not be talking about this right now on the podcast.
I got a quick question, though, about something that happened on that Surrey game.
Fire away.
Tom TB3 hit that 3 at the end of the third from the logo.
Yeah.
Does that qualify for a free Nando's from Coach K?
Oh, that is a great question.
Do you know what? I would suggest it probably would if they'd won. But then they didn't win the game.
Well, we're actually we're recording this bit of the podcast before we record the middle bit of the podcast, which we're going down to record tomorrow. When we're down there tomorrow, I will ask this question to TB and Coach, and then you will listen back to the podcast and you'll know the answer to the question. This is like podcast inception here as well.
I love it.
So if you listen back to this podcast tomorrow, tomorrow it comes out Wednesday.
Yeah.
So listen back to the podcast tomorrow, and you will find out the answer to your question right there. I want to find out. Actually, because is it half court? Is it not quite half court? It was like from the Next Ledger logo.
Yeah,
so
I know.
It was like inside half.
From the logo, isn't it? From the logo is half court.
Yeah, well, I don't know what Coach will think of that though. We'll see.
Logo.
I'll ask him, mate, for you, and I will let you. Well, you'll find out when you listen to the podcast.
I'll find out. Amazing.
Matt, one thing we've got to do before we let you go is we actually have a word free on our wheel for Word of the Week. I don't know if you've a keen listener of the podcast or you know what our wheel Word of the Week is all about. We've got a spare word available, so we would like you to pick us a word because last week, what was the word last week? Bloodbath.
Yeah.
So we want you to pick a word for this week's Word of the Week. What do you think?
Okay. I reckon it's veganuary, so I want to hear you get the word tofu in a broadcast, please.
Tofu. Happy days. Yeah. I like it. It's good.
Yeah, there you go.
Tofu. I'll add tofu. We'll bear that in mind when we get to our Word of the Week section. Matt, we're going to let you go, but thanks so much for letting us give you a call. Thanks for texting me to get you to call you back as well. I really appreciate it.
No problem. My absolute pleasure. Massive fan of the podcast. Listen all the time, as you well know. But yeah, amazing. Thanks for everything you do, keeping us Flyers fans feeling like we're in the loop. We love it.
Really, really, really quickly as well. Just give us 2 or maybe 10 seconds on your Twitter, the BBL Daily, and just let us know how people can follow you.
So at BBL Daily, we are an independent news source for all stuff going on around the BBL. Loads of cool articles written by fans about the league we love. BBLdaily.com. Come and check us out.
And you're looking for writers as well right now, aren't you?
Always looking for writers. If you got experience is not necessary, just passion. Just get at me. My DMs are open.
Awesome. Great stuff. Matt, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to let you go. Are you watching the game on Sunday? Surrey Scorchers. Newcastle Eagles. Are you going down to the SGS Wise campus?
I won't be able to make it, but I'll be watching on YouTube for sure.
Great stuff. Thanks, Matt. Take care. We'll see you soon.
Then.
Cheers, mate.
Take it easy. Bye.
In case you missed what Matt was just saying, I kind of made out it was something along the lines of if you want to be a writer, you don't need to necessarily have lots of experience, but you just need a passion for the sport. Is that about right, Joel?
I reckon.
Yeah.
I couldn't have worded it better myself. Freddie's got a thumbs up there at the back in the director's chair. Where were we? Other news around the league. We're still in news, Sam. We've got miles to go. Hapoel Tel Aviv versus London Lions. Here's a good clip for you. Check out these fans descending on Wembley. 1,500 of them.
Can you imagine 1,500 away fans from the UK going to another country to watch basketball? That is incredible, isn't it?
Obviously, those who aren't familiar with what we're talking about, London Lions hosted Hapoel Tel Aviv at Wembley Arena during last Wednesday. There's the fans on screen, 1,500 of them.
There's a topless guy on the fences at the front. Look at him.
There's beer being flown around.
They're not messing up with the London prices of beer as well. They're not messing around, those fans, Joel.
Are they? They're not. Look at it, all down Wembley Way as well. What would it take for British basketball to have that kind? Well, obviously, like our audience is very family friendly, and this is a very completely different audience. But what would it take for like British basketball to have that change in sort of fan culture?
It's really tricky, Joel, because I don't even necessarily think it's a basketball thing, because like we went and did the Perpignan trip with the Bristol Bears recently. Me and Steve went away. Bristol Bears regularly get over 20,000 fans to their games here in the UK, and over there I'd say there was probably only still maybe 50 to 100 Bristol Bears fans over there. So I think it's more of a British culture thing than necessarily a I don't know, what do you think? I know football fans in the UK do travel quite a lot, don't they? But it's a weird one.
Maybe we should, when we move down to Ashton Gate, give Section 82 a call and give them all free tickets and free booze and just get them bouncing around in the corner of the SCC. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I love that, mate. That'd be good. So, I don't know, mate. I think we'll see it happen. I think we'll see more and more people sort of go. Tricky at the moment, like cost of living crisis and all the rest of it. It's going to be, and we're a few years away still from potentially being in Europe. Who knows? But we'd like to see it with the Flyers fans, won't we?
Yeah, if you're a big football fan and you want to get involved with basketball and you want to bring all your drums and whatnot, do it. We're down.
We want to fill this arena when it's here with whoever, football fans, rugby fans, basketball fans. It's going to be loud. It's going to be proud. I'm really excited for it, Joel.
Great stuff. Other news around the league after the game against Bristol Flyers on December 23rd. Eagle-eyed of you, Bristol Flyers versus Surrey Scorchers, that is. The eagle-eyed of you would have noticed on the BBL website this week, there has been a statement from the BBL of the BBL disciplinary panel findings from the Scorchers game against Surrey Scorchers against the Flyers the day before Christmas Eve. It reads, in accordance with BBL operating rules, the BBL disciplinary panel reviewed an incident that occurred at the above fixture. Its findings were as follows. The Surrey Scorchers club were fined for a breach of BBL operating rules. The Surrey Scorchers GM, Dan Clark, was fined and required to take training in relation to a breach of the BBL's code of conduct. In accordance with company policy, the level of the fines are not disclosed. Interesting one here, Sam, because I was at that game.
Yeah.
And I literally did not see anything that happened. I looked at this statement a couple of days ago on the website.
Yeah.
I did not know what on earth that is all about.
So it was at our ground.
No, it was at Surrey.
Oh,
it was the 23rd.
Surrey.
It was the game on the 23rd, so Christmas Eve. It was it must have been something that happened after the game, because during the game nothing stood out of the ordinary from what I could see at all.
Do you think we should be told about this sort of thing, or do you think that's enough information now done?
I like to, in this situation, this is causing people to ask a lot of questions.
Yeah.
So we see on social media, people are talking about, like we are right now, what has gone on. It's just open to speculation. If you list that in that disciplinary panel statement, you list exactly what happened, why the fine is being issued. There's no questions asked in that situation. Strange one. I'd like a bit more detail in there. I know the BBL's put out a job ad, well, a couple of job ads, like voluntary roles to fill the disciplinary panel going forward.
Right.
So maybe that's something they could add or change later on. But with those sort of things, it's always tough, because usually disciplinary panel puts something out when someone's being banned or someone picks up penalty points. I don't want to specify exactly what it's for. Most of the time when that happens, you know exactly what it's for, because you watch that game, you're like, yeah, that's for maybe a fight that broke out in front of the bench in a certain quarter, or that's for XYZ. But for this one, it was all seemed to happen after the game, I think it was. I didn't see anything during the game at all.
Well, you never know. Like, sport makes people emotional, doesn't it? And people want to say things. They want it, because we won that game, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you never know. I mean, when we, last year Plymouth, we had the disciplinary action against the bench or whatever, didn't we?
Yeah.
Did that all get laid out on the?
Yeah. Well, it didn't specify exactly what it was for, but obviously back then we had a player suspension in Evans. He did one game ban, didn't he?
Yeah.
So yeah, it wasn't actually. Again, back then it doesn't specify exactly. Oh no, I think it did. I think it specified a breach of the bench or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I'd like to see some more info laid out in those disciplinary disciplinary statements.
You're just a nasty gossip, mate. You just want to know all the
We
insight.
love the gossip here on the podcast. We love it. Last bit of news I got for you here, Sam. This one. How about you check this out? This one, incredible. A little bit of something different that caught my eye over the last week. Flyers fan John Paget, who's only posted in the Bristol Flyers Supporters Club, he's made his own custom T-shirt, and he posted this video in the Supporters Club Facebook page.
New Bristol Flyers top created today. Looks rather nice, I think. Oh, what's that? Is that a QR code? And what's that do then? Let's have a look, shall we? So we take another phone, click on it, open the link, and hey, look, Bristol Flyers. How about that then? And then if you want to look at the back of it, and there we go. Leslie Smith, Johnny Watson-Gale.
Do a QR code scan there on your phone, Sam, with it on the screen.
Freddie, can you put it on behind us? So keep us on the screen, but without volume. Can you put it on behind us? And I'm going to see if I can...
put Freddie on the spot now. Yeah. He's flapping around. Oh, there we go. Right, scan it on your phone. Scan it. Basically, is for those that haven't... it's worked!
Hey, it worked!
It's worked! That's amazing! For those that are listening to the podcast, basically, Flyers fan John Paget has only gone and made himself a T-shirt. The front of the T-shirt says Bristol Flyers. It's got the logo on it. It's got this QR code on the front as well. You scan the QR code, and it takes you through to the Bristol Flyers homepage, as tested right here on the podcast. On the back of the T-shirt, it's got the Scat team, Leslie Smith and Jelani Watson-Gale. Amazing. Great stuff.
Love that.
We love all of your Flyers fan stuff. If you've got anything you want to send in, either dump it in the Flyers supporters group, send it to us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. You can comment on the YouTube if you're watching on YouTube. We're at Bristol Flyers everywhere. We want to see your Flyers stuff. Show us how big a supporter you are for the Bristol Flyers. Last bit to get to, 2 big games this weekend, of course, Sam. On Friday we hit the road. We're off to Sheffield Sharks, live on Sky Sports, and it's live.
We I don't want to say too much too soon as well, but we do not have a good Sky Sports record, do we, Joe?
Oh, you've only got to said it, haven't you?
Well, no, that's the other way around. Like, I've said it now, so hopefully we'll break the curse.
Yeah, that's it. We'll break the duck. We did, however, beat Sheffield on Sky Sports last season, so that's anything to go by. It should be a great game. A little Delpesh derby on the cards. I imagine the Delpesh WhatsApp group right now has gone quiet ahead of the game. Probably won't pipe up again until after the buzzer. We'll see. It's on Sky Sports. You can also watch it on the Sky Sports YouTube channel for free. So if you haven't got Sky Sports at home, you can go watch it for free. How cool is that?
I love that. And then we've also got another big matchup on Sunday afternoon. Is that right, Joel?
Yep, 4 p.m. tip-off. Newcastle Eagles are coming to town. Obviously, we fell to them away from home earlier in the season, so Flyers will be looking to get one back. Should be a great game. 4 p.m. tip-off. You can watch it on the BBL YouTube channel.
I have a confession to make about that game, actually, Joel.
Go on.
It's my brother's 30th birthday, and we are doing something as a family away, and so I can't make the game. So Christian's going to step in, do the old... Wait, no, don't put your thumb down for Christian.
Oh, no, I meant that for you.
I'm joking. So that will be Christian doing the voice of God, I'm afraid, rather than myself.
If you want tickets for that game on the Sunday against Newcastle Eagles, you can't get them because they are sold out, I'm afraid. But we do place Newcastle Eagles again in a couple of weeks' time, and there's still a few tickets left for that as well. So if you can get to the website, be quick, and you can get them right now, but those will sell out as well. So bristolflyers.co.uk to get your tickets now.
Joel, you're going to have to stop me if I'm speaking ahead of whether where I should. But I think you might put some comms out recently about how many tickets we've got left for the whole rest of the season, or shouldn't I?
Oh no, we haven't done this yet. But we were in the office counting them up, and it's like, I think it's about 200 and something, isn't it?
No, it's more than that, but for the whole rest of the season, every game we've got left, home tickets.
What was it? I can't remember.
It was just under 1,000, I think, but that's for every single game left.
Left for everything?
Yeah. So that's everything we've got left. I know that sounds like a lot at the moment, but remember, SGS is about 700 or so, we've just got like 1 game left of people.
And most teams sell out 1,500 in their arenas, so we've probably got like less than a full BBL arenas away venue left of tickets for the rest of it's an interesting one. We'll maybe get some stats and we'll talk about it properly in a future episode of the podcast.
Well, when we've run out of more. Who knows?
And that's it for my news. Yeah, that was a long news section, wasn't it?
Flipping it. Matt Hardy ruining our news section.
Now you're up to date with this week's news.
This is the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
Right, time to wrap up this week's episode of the Bristol Flyers Podcast. And before we go, we've got one final thing to do. So thanks to Matt Hardy, he gave us the word tofu to add to our wheel, which I'm going to go grab right now. Sam, did you connect yourself to the Bluetooth whilst we were talking in that news section?
I certainly did. Now, Joel had the opportunity to try and get the word bloodbath into the commentary for last week's game.
Oh, yeah.
Did you manage it, Joel?
I certainly did, and I did it when talking about NBL teams playing up in the BBL Trophy competition.
Well, should we have a little listen to you getting it in?
Let's do it.
Fans going into these games, you see a Division 1 team coming in and playing a BBL team, they think it will be a bloodbath, but really, it's a chance for these Div 1 teams to really show what they're made of.
There we go. Got it in.
Got it in, mate.
No
what a
brainer,
legend.
mate. Easy dub, that one. Easy W.
Easy W. Now, tofu is also an easy one to spell, so we're happy with that, aren't we? I love that. So
How do you spell it?
Joel's just getting tofu written in, and then we're gonna spin it. Please, let's land on something cool.
I was watching the comments section last week on the YouTube channel, and some people were suggesting that the wheel was rigged, but it certainly isn't rigged. It's very fair. So I'll have you know. Right, time to get this wheel a spin. Here we go, Sam. You ready?
Yep. Oh, that song needs to be...
Here we go. The perfectly fair wheel is going to land on... not tofu, it's...
Abdication!
Abdication!
I think that was a VJ classic, is it?
It was, yeah. He was watching The Crown, I think it was, wasn't he?
Yeah, love that, mate. Love that.
He was a big fan of watching The Crown, and he said, yeah, put abdication up on the wheel. Well, VJ, now's your time, because I'm going to say it on Sunday's game against the Newcastle Eagles.
This is the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
Well, that's it, Sam. That's our podcast wrapped up for this week. We know exactly... I mean, it was a good episode. Apart from the coffee bit, we don't know how it went, but I'm hoping it's a good part, the coffee part. I hope you enjoyed that bit as well.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's going to be great. The guys there are great, and we all have coffee, so it should be good, Joel.
Absolutely. Thanks again for tuning into this week's episode of the Bristol Flyers Podcast. Don't forget, we're available every single Wednesday on all major podcast providers and on YouTube. Sam, anything else you want to add before we wrap this one up?
You always ask me that, and I always feel like I've got to add something really special, but not this week, Joel. I've got nothing to add, mate.
One day you'll have something to add. But until then, we'll see you same time next week here on the Bristol Flyers Podcast.